Alright, so this is going to be a part one of, we're going to explore PowerShell. This is basically designed for somebody who is actually completely new for PowerShell. I don't mind if there is someone who don't even have seen a PowerShell console, so because this is something which is something to somebody who is definitely new to PowerShell. And so this session is going to be driven by me, Ashwin, and Manoj as well. And we basically have similar experience in IT industry, and then we deal with almost similar technologies across in our life, and we deal with Active Directory, messaging, SCOM, and migrations, virtualizations, etc. So we can actually discuss about a lot of scripting components later, once we are actually good with the commands and once we are familiar with the PowerShell console as such. So the session is more or less going to be mainly managed or driven by me, but definitely Manoj might have some inputs in between which he can actually update you. And one thing I want to talk about, learning any command line utility is, or any sort of utility which is having an option to automate a lot of things. The way I think to automate may not be same as another person thinks. So possibilities are there. When people join together or come across with multiple solutions, we may get a lot of cool ideas actually coming up. So it's whatever I'm talking today is not exactly only way to do things. I mean, there could be possibilities you can do in multiple other ways when you work around PowerShell. All right. So all good. So I think this is something which Manoj used to say a lot. I think which you can see in the one of the things he said. I mean, if you're doing it once, you can do it via GUI, definitely. I mean, definitely, if you were trying to do it many a times, if you're trying to do that multiple times, it's better to do via PowerShell so that it decreases your workload. And there is another good part of PowerShell is something that is delegated administration. Or what if you want to actually let somebody do some work which he is doesn't know what to do? Like suppose Microsoft Exchange. You want to actually have an help desk creating mailbox, even though doesn't know what is a mailbox and what are the prerequisites required to make a mailbox. So there are possibilities. You can go through multiple ways. PowerShell is one of them, and even you can actually go through many other options. So let's get it going. And the very first thing which I want to talk about is we're not going to do a lot of PowerPoint presentation today because learning PowerShell with PPT is not going to work. So you can see it's just in 8 slides because we're not going to go through a lot of PPT. PPT is just to give a reference on where we stand. And we are actually trying to do is, like, what are we going to do today? We're going to actually explore how a PowerShell command looks like. And basically I just added a slogan, which probably is not a slogan, but something which Microsoft said in one of the TechNet, and that is, it actually is safe to say that a single most important skill an Windows administrator will need in the upcoming years is proficiency with Windows PowerShell, which is really true because when you look around yourself, there are less PowerShell administrators right now. I mean, who knows PowerShell? But possibilities are there later tomorrow. That could be one of the mandatory components or mandatory requirement by most of the companies when they hire Microsoft administrators. And so how are we going to do PowerShell? We're going to discover the PowerShell in multiple ways. Before even going to PowerShell, I probably want to discuss an open discussion between you. What do you think about a command line, and what is your difficulty coming across whenever you're doing with a command line? So first of all, I want to ask you one thing. You probably can reply back on chat. It should be fine. Or if you want to speak up, you can speak up. Why do you think that a GUI interface or a Microsoft console, or if you ask a MMC console, is much easier to deal with? I mean, what do you think so? Okay. You mean to say when you open up the GUI, you get a lot of options in your eyes, like you see a lot of things moving around, like say, what if you right click on that, you get too many options. So I think it is all those right clicks or expand or whatever you do, you see in the GUI, because GUI, when you open it, you get to know what you can do. I think that's the best thing. And the main issue with the PowerShell is when you open up a PowerShell, you do not really know what to do in the PowerShell. But that's not actually the case. PowerShell has got a lot of discoverability features, wherein you can, even if you do not know anything about PowerShell, just like a GUI, you have a lot of options to move around the PowerShell, to see around the PowerShell. And that's what we're going to do in the very beginning. To get you across the PowerShell. And let me make it one thing. This session may be related to PowerShell, but there are a lot many products which use PowerShell, like say Exchange, there's SharePoint, etc. So even actually Active Directory uses PowerShell nowadays. So it is not just we're talking about Windows PowerShell, we're talking about the PowerShell as a whole. Whatever we are talking today is applicable to all products which use PowerShell. So we will be generalizing things today, but it doesn't mean that it is just applicable to a file system or a Windows server. So that's something we need to understand. And there is another thing is why we didn't use, this is one question, I mean the opposite to the other question. I mean I got to know from you why we use GUI. I just want to know why are we not using command line, even though you can see, you know, right from 2000 to 2003, earlier versions as well, you have a lot of options to do things via command line, but why don't you use that? I mean, why are we not using them? What do you think about a main reason not using a CMT? The main reason, more or less, going to be is very difficult to get help. First of all, you can't get help from a command. Like say when you run one particular command, the syntax for one command will be different, and if you run a different command, the syntax will be all different. There is no proper or a common syntax for every command line tools that we are using. It's all different. I mean, each command line tool you open, it will have its own help file, which will guide you to how to use that. So that's one of the reasons. First of all, I mean, one of the biggest problem is even if you know one command line completely. Like say, I'm pretty much sure everybody in the organization who works with Microsoft Active Directory will be doing a rep admin commands and all those things. So, but if you know that command, you really cannot say that I can do any commands, because many commands are, I mean, all commands are not similar. First of all, it's syntax difference, and that's one thing. Yes, you don't have everything in command line. That's, yes, learning curve is big because you don't have a help in the first place. I mean, you have a help, but the help is actually one help for each command line, different help for each command line. So the very first thing I want to understand, give you an idea is what Microsoft is doing today is when they develop a product, they develop the command line first. That is, they develop the shell component first to administer that, and then they design the GUI. So the first, one of the reason is you don't have everything there. So that's not there right now. Whenever any product is designed, it actually makes everything in the shell in the first place, and then the things are done in the GUI. So basically, what is happening? Whenever you do something in the GUI, under the hood, it is doing a shell command. So there is no, probably you may end up actually right now saying that you can do more things in command line than GUI, because that's the native administrative tool right now Microsoft is using, and not like the older versions when we actually find it this way. I mean, this is something personal opinion about different tools, but from my idea, whenever you see any command line utilities, when you come across, it looks like a tool which is made in a part-time basis. Something you build the product in a full-time basis, and you build the command line using part-time. I mean, when you had time, you just made it. But that's not the case today. I mean, it is going to be command line, or it's going to be the shell first, once the shell is done, and then you're going to build the GUI on top of the shell. So that makes it quite easier right now. And because of this strategy, you can actually think in one way. When you learn shell, and the shell is not different for each thing. Like Microsoft Exchange is not going to use a different shell. SharePoint is not going to use a different shell. It's all PowerShell. I just had a few questions which came up in my mind. Somebody actually come across saying, what is a shell? I mean, it's actually just a name, I would say. The shell is actually an application which runs on top of operating system. It's not something which can straight away run without an operating system. So yes, PowerShell is a name that is given. It was earlier having a different name, but it was changed later. So the PowerShell is the command line utility, or the CLI for most of the Microsoft products and even the upcoming Microsoft products. So it definitely makes sense to invest time in learning PowerShell. And let me make it very clear that this is not going to be a learning which you're going to do in 1 hour or 2 hours. It's something that it will take weeks of time. Probably, if you think about learning entire PowerShell, the minimum amount of time that it requires is actually 30 to 40 hours minimum. So we're going to have a very primer of, we're going to cover very less amount of PowerShell today. I'm not going to say that I'm going to cover 100% PowerShell, because it's going to be not 100% today, but something that can actually make you better tomorrow and then learn better tomorrow. Okay, so the very first thing, before even going into the details, I want to let you know what we will be covering today and the next session of PowerShell. First of all, I am actually going to cover commands. That's it. That's what is PowerShell, right? We're going to actually cover the command lines. And I just listed out some of the commands. The only reason is to actually give some reference. And the reason to use these commands is basically because these are one of the most commonly used commands that you can actually use with many other command lines. Sorry, many other shell commands that you're using. So that's one thing. What was everyone asking? I didn't get you actually. Am I not audible for all? Okay, perfect. I'm not sure what was that actually. Basically, if there is a question, probably you can rephrase this, but looks like there could be some connectivity trouble. Okay, perfect. Thanks. This is what we're going to cover up today. We're going to actually say CMD. What is CMD? It's not PowerShell. That is a command line. We'll actually talk about something on the CMD which you are aware of, and then we'll put that across to PowerShell. And we can actually see a lot of commands, and this is just in text to go through. And if you ask me, tomorrow, the next session is going to be something more or less going to be on we're going to actually have our PS remoting as well in the next day, but what we're going to have today is going to be completely basic PS remoting, and maybe we will actually skip it altogether to the next day. But PS remoting requires a lot amount of time, more time, and so probably we will be covering up PS remoting as well on this part 2, and then that's when we're going to have a lot of advanced level commands. We can actually go through some diagnostics modules, then we can go through WMI, how can you integrate WMI with PowerShell, and something that is like a PowerShell running as a job, the commands running as jobs, and then we can run the other good commands, the read dash host, write dash host, and these are all something that you can use when you are trying to create a small script. We can even talk about like debug commands and all those things, and the execution policies, and what is the security, or in terms of PowerShell, how the security stands, and then at the end we can actually create a simple PowerShell script. Okay. So let me actually say I'm not going to use any more PowerPoint presentation for today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share the PowerShell program. First of all, just a moment, let me actually share it across to the screen. Then we can go through multiple things we can, all these commands, and then probably once we dive into these commands, you'll get to know more about PowerShell. All right. So just get me 1 minute. Let me actually share up the session. All right. So please let me know if you're able to see the PowerShell screen at this point. All right, perfect. So the very first thing which I would like to say is a few of the things like we are quite a lot aware of the command line utilities like DAR and things like that, right? So some of the things which I want to talk about is like, say, if I want to actually do a DIR here, is it going to work? This is actually something that is still going to work. The reason is the Microsoft, when they built the PowerShell, they actually built it more or less similar to the commands that we were using in the command line. It was actually carried across. And I'm not saying that DAR is a command today. It is actually something which refers to this thing. In the PowerShell, we have something called get-child item, and if you actually enter that, it is going to give you the same thing. So what they really did is they actually tried to alias most of the commands that we were using in the earlier versions of the command lines, and then the DOS prompts first of all, and then tried to alias that a lot to this one. And so most of the commands they used to use, like, say, if you want to do a CD command so that you want to change the directory, you can actually use those still. That's something that that still works at this point. So those are the things which I want to talk about in the beginning. But let me make it one thing actually. Whenever you actually write a command, sometimes in command line you put a slash or forward slash or backward slash or whatever you use in the command line, and based on the command that you're using. Is this going to work in the PowerShell? This is one of the questions, first of all. See, the one thing which you need to understand is the command line that you're using in the DOS prompt, whenever there is actually a forward slash or a backward slash, that is not going to be carried forward to PowerShell. So if I do a dir/s, it is not going to work. It's going to give me an error. You can actually read through the error, first of all, and this is one of the important things which I want to talk about. Whenever you're dealing with any sort of command line, you make sure that you read the error that you are getting and then understand what it is doing, rather than just doing a CLS and then going back and doing something, because we tend to do that a lot. Like whenever you get an error, you actually clear the screen and then try just get it off, so that maybe, I don't know, maybe the people around you doesn't see that or something like that. But I would like to say one thing. This command didn't run. Why it didn't run? It's actually saying that cannot find the path C/S, even though you did the other slash. But the thing is going to be, this is actually for in terms of PowerShell. Why do you do that actually? This is something that you use when you want to navigate through the folder directories that you have. Like, say, if you want to actually go across CD and type, like, say, maybe in this program files, I can say, if I do C program files, that is something that we use so that you go into that particular folder. So the slash is no longer going to be used as a parameter anymore or as a command anymore. It is actually going to be more like a path. It is going to be used in the path. Yeah, definitely. What you're going to do is, whenever you do a dir/s in the normal command line window, that is actually going to get to you the data that you have in the subfolders as well. And what do you do for that in the PowerShell? Do we have an option? You still have an option. So when you want to do that kind of thing, you probably is going to do a recurse, and that's going to give you list, I'm going to actually cancel it in between because I get a lot of things in this. So the recurse is actually, you can actually say a dash, and the recurse is actually what has replaced /s. So one thing you need to understand is in any the command line tool that you use, whenever you're using this, there should be an alternate dash and then type the whatever parameter you want, okay? The syntax that you have. So that is something that you have to remember. That's no longer going to work in the PowerShell, and you need to have an alternate the complete syntax available for the PowerShell. But most of the things that you do on a command line is still going to work, like say ipconfig. This is not really a command line tool. This is actually an exe which is running. So this is actually still going to run. I mean, most of the commands that you have in the CMD is going to still work on the PowerShell mode. So that's one thing you need to be careful about. Like, not everything of CMD is going to work here. You need to understand that if it is going to conflict with what PowerShell uses, it's going to give you an error. Okay. It looks like all right. So that's about this. And if that's about the DAR or the CMD command lines, which I can talk about. Oh, you're not able to see the screen? One moment. All right. That's because it was actually minimized. Okay, so let's do this way. So something we need to understand is the command line and the PowerShell is more or less same, but not everything of command line is going to work here, and especially the syntax what you have in the DOS prompt may not completely work here, but you have to understand there are a lot of alias that is created in the PowerShell which makes you more comfortable to use. Like say there are a lot of things, like say if you want to actually do an ls, it can work. If you want to do a cat command, it is still working. So there are a lot of commands which is having an alias, which is actually getting redirected, or which is getting converted to a command line, or a converted to a PowerShell command at the end of the day. So that's about the CMD part of it. And there's another thing which you want to understand is what are the versions of PowerShell that is available. There is a PowerShell version 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, but what are you running at this point? How do you see that? So the very first thing that you can do is you can actually do a PSVersionTable, and that's going to give you the version of the PowerShell that you're using at this point. And you can see here the version that you come across here, PS version. That's something that you can look at. And this is actually 3.0, but that's the latest PowerShell version that we have at this point. So we're not going to actually discuss about a lot of differences between the older version and 3.0 today, but we will be covering up someday later when we are good with the initial part of the PowerShell. All right. Are you still not able to see the screen? Well, let me actually pull it off from the sharing and put it back, because that's something which I can see here. It says sharing. So let me actually stop the sharing and put it back. A moment. I just added back in the share. So it's connecting at this point. Oh, wait. All right, it says now shared, so just update me if you're able to see that. Okay, perfect. Okay, that should actually come up there definitely, and it might be taking time, but it should come up. Let's wait like 1 minute or so. Okay, perfect. It depends on the bandwidth through which it is connected, so it's more or less going to be that. Okay. All right. And there's one more thing. Whenever I actually minimize the PowerShell, you're not going to see that, but it doesn't mean that it is actually removed from the sharing. I'll put it back, and then you should be able to see that back. That's something. What happens is whenever you type something on the chat, and when I actually type back on the chat, the sharing will be unavailable at that point of time. But when I pull it back on the PowerShell back, it should be back on. Okay. So that's one thing you can actually think about. Well, how can you make sure which version of PowerShell you're using? And that's going to be the $PSVersionTable, and that's one of the commands that you can use to get the version number. And the other thing is we're going to actually try to discover the PowerShell, how we can actually go around the PowerShell, first of all. So what can we do in that? We're going to actually use a few of the commands like get-help, and that is one of the biggest friend that you can use whenever you want to actually do something in the PowerShell. Like say you can use the get-help command line and then get the help of any command that you're trying to do. Okay, so we'll try to actually go through that particular command in the beginning, and before we get into that, we can actually speak about how a commandlet is made, how a PowerShell commandlet is made. You can see here that actually there is a get and the dash and help. So it's actually two parts. Every command that you see in PowerShell will have two parts, and that is basically if I actually go back to the slide, I can say that the which I talked about in the earlier, like there is actually a verb-noun way of actually doing it. That's what I'm talking about. Verb-noun. And what is a verb in this? And what is a noun? So every command that you type is actually going to have a similar structure, first of all. Okay, so it is going to be a get-help. You can actually see a new mailbox. Whatever it is going to be a similar structure. The other thing which you want to actually understand is if I want to actually type new mailbox, okay, or let's say more sensible will be get-mailbox. The get-mailbox command, if you run, it's not going to give you one mailbox. It's going to give you more than one mailbox. Okay, so that's one thing you want to understand. You're not going to type get-mailboxes, or you're not going to type get-services. It's going to be service. It's going to be mailbox. Like say if I actually do a get-service, if I press enter, it's going to give me the list of service that is running on this particular system. Okay, and what I'm actually running right now is a Windows 7 PC, and that's the reason you can see a lot of the commands. A lot of the services are all client-based service. Okay, and so that's about the different how a command looks like, or a commandlet looks like in a PowerShell. So is there any confusion in the way that PowerShell commands are constructed? I think that's always similar. If you see like get-service, get-help, or if you want to see a get-process, or if you want to see a get-mailbox. So it's almost similar. So that's one thing which makes it easier for everybody to remember any commands. The commands have a similar structure, so we don't have to learn commands with every product that comes across. Okay. 1 moment. Let me go back to. That's fine, no problem. And this session is going to be is actually being recorded as well. So if you missed any parts in between, that will be available in the recording as well. So no problem. You can try to join back and see if you're able to see the screen back again. And yeah, let's get it going that way. Okay. So that's about the construction of a command. Okay. And another thing is going to be how do you know about another command? Like suppose say I want to see how did I know this command, get-process command. I mean, how did I just type this command so that I got the list of the processes? The thing what I'm going to do is going to be I just need to type help, and then I'm probably going to say I want actually help, which actually going to talk about something which is about the process. So I'll probably keep a process or something like that, and then I'm going to get the it's going to search for the process which is actually having a any sort of anything in the beginning and what ends at process. So I got multiple things. One is actually a debug process, another one is a get-process, another one is a start-process, stop-process, and wait-process. So that's the different things which came across, and that's when we can actually come across to a conclusion. What do you want to do? I mean, do you want to get a process? Okay, so that's what you want to do. So just run the third command, that is, second command, that is get-process, and you're going to get the list of the process. Okay, and we're going to get into the details of this particular command, that is get-process, in more details, like how you can sort them, how you can actually see the property in the way that you want, and all those things. So we'll deal that in some time, like how we can do that. And the other command that you want to actually get used to is going to be a get-command, and that's actually going to be, let's say, similar to that, like say get-command, and then probably what command do you want? Like say I'll say same thing. What is the difference? This is actually this is going to give you the list of commands, first of all. The other one is actually a similar process. Actually, this is actually going to give you the list of the commands, and once you have the list of the commands, you can actually type the help and then say type get-process, and then press enter. You're going to get the help for specific command. That's because of you had, wait a second, right? So this is one thing which we're going to talk about, is both are going to do the same task. If you see here, help star process is going to give you the list of the commands which actually is going to have the process in it. If you want to actually rather do a get-command and star process, it's going to rather give you a similar command. Like, I mean, it's actually having a different view, but yes, it's going to give you almost similar things. So either you can actually use a help with a wildcard character with the thing that you want to do, and that should be it, and then you should get the details available. And there is another thing, that is the help is going to give you the how you're going to use it. Yes, we'll come to that definitely. What is that get-help and what is the difference between help? We'll speak about that right now. Okay. The thing is actually going to be the help, and if you type get-process, what is it going to do? It's actually going to give you the help page by page. I mean, if the help is too big, first of all. So what is that going to do? First of all, it's actually basically it is doing get-help, and you're actually giving the name get-process, and you piped that to more, and that's what that alias help did. Basically, it actually gave you the result on a page-by-page mode. So that's more or less like what is a more actually? I mean, more is again like it's an again, if you want to actually make it into PowerShell mode, that's going to be out-host and then type it on a paging, and that's basically the more command is doing. It's going to give you the output, and I mean, it's not going to just pull up. It's going to actually show you up on a page-by-page mode. Okay, I think it will be much easier to use help. The reason is this get-process actually is having a quite small help, but it doesn't mean that every help will be that small. You may suppose say What if you actually did get-help with a full mode? I mean, you want to see almost everything. Then it is going to just go on, and then you're not going to read that. You can't read the everything. So at that point of time, you can actually say like help and say get-process, and then probably you can actually pull up and then say full. That's it. Now this is something which I was talking just now. This is going to give me a page-by-page layout, first of all. So I can probably go through each and every one and then read that and read through each of the page and then understand it. So before even actually we go through a lot more things in it, I want to give you an understanding on these things. You can actually see here, there is actually one way of doing that. It's going to be the get-process. And there is a square bracket, and there is another square bracket, and then dash name, and which means the dash name is within a square bracket, and then you have a string which is inside another square bracket. What is this square brackets meaning? I mean, this is something you want to understand when you want to actually read a help file. If a particular the whole thing is inside a square bracket, what is actually that meaning? That is meaning that you don't really need to write dash name. Even if you just type the string, it is going to understand that that is going to be the name of it. And not only that, actually, suppose say I want to pipe something, like say I can probably say get-process and then pipe that to stop-process. If that is something which I want to do, what is it going to do? Like get-process is going to list out the process. The name that you have in the process is piped and added on the stop-process, and which means every process on your system is going to be stopped, which is not really a good command to try. I mean, probably it can blue screen your system as well. So that's one thing we can actually think about here. The parameters that you see here is whenever you see a square bracket, that is not actually a mandatory component. I mean, you don't need to write this. Still the command will run, because you saw that earlier just now. Like I didn't actually do I actually just did a get-process, and the command just did run. I mean, get-service as well. I mean, the command was actually running. I mean, the command ran perfectly fine. So which means the other parameters that you see there is not really a mandatory component. It's something that you can specify if you want to get the detail of one particular service or process. Okay, I mean, if you see here, like if you want to actually get the service that is only Adobe ARM service, then I probably need to actually use that. That's it. Get that service and then put the name as after that, and then it's only going to give me the details of that particular service. Okay, and there are a few things which we can actually talk about today in some time. That is, there are a few questions that can come across. It's going to be what if you want to actually make sure that I want to filter this based on the status and all sort of things, and that is possible that we can actually go through when we are actually going through the set of commands what does the filtering, because there could be possibilities that you want to see the services that are stopped and the list of the services or the list of the services that are running. So probably that is something we need to look forward once we know the other commands as well. Okay. So let's go down, and probably I want to make you understand is one of the thing is the get-help, or if you type just help, it is going to give you on a page-by-page mode. And there is more to say about the help, and that is going to be if you want to actually get that help of anything, like say you want to actually get that service, and you want to get an online help. What is that going to do? It's actually going to open up a TechNet document that is available in the internet. So basically, that's something that you want to use if you want to actually get a more recent help. I mean, if you put an online on the site, it's going to open up it's going to go to internet and see the help that is available online. Yes, something that is quite interesting as well. Like say, when I did a full help, it actually gave me a lot of things. So there's few things which you need to understand is why normally we go into a help. It is actually we need to run that command. That's it. And probably I think most of us do one thing whenever we need to do something. We go into the internet, search for the commands that is available, and search for some articles which talk about the same thing. We have an option to get those things done within the PowerShell itself. Maybe that should be the first thing that you should do. Like, do the searching within PowerShell, and then probably go out to the internet and see if the PowerShell doesn't give you the right example. So, like, say what you need to do is just an example after that, and then press enter. It is going to give you the example of what it can do, first of all. So this is something which do you find this one? Alright, the get-help could not find the help file, and that is because this is something which came up in the PowerShell 3.0. That is, the help file is not really something that is installed on your PC when you download the PowerShell and you straight away run it. And the reason I didn't upload or install the PowerShell help in this one is to make sure that you see this particular error message whenever you actually, or it's not an error, it's just a remark that you get whenever you try to get the example. What you have to do is you just need to actually say update-help, and that's going to go to internet, and it's going to download the help file, and it's going to keep that in for your reference. So you have to do that for the first time after installing the PowerShell 3.0, and the main reason for that is basically the one of the there are a few other things that is going to be the PowerShell is not really I'm not running the PowerShell in the admin mode at this point, so I probably can do that on another screen, but the admin mode PowerShell is not going to be visible in the screen. So let me run that on another screen and come back to you in a moment. Alright, so that's actually going on. So that's one thing you can actually do. We can actually go through that process once we are done with the downloading part of it. I think it kind of take like 2 minutes to actually do that. So that's one thing you should be aware of in the PowerShell version 3.0. The help file is not really added when you install the PowerShell. You have to run update-help command so that you get the complete help file. Okay. Let me see if it actually works, or else probably I need to restart the PowerShell window. Let me see. One moment. Probably that's it. So this is again something that you should rather use a help rather than get-help, because it's going to actually pipe it to a more command, and that's going to be more useful. Okay. If you see here, if you want to get the list of the services, you're going to run get-service. And if you want to actually get the list of services, which is actually having some specific name, or like you don't know the complete name, you only know the beginning of it. You probably have an option to type all those characters that you understand, then put a wildcard character, and that's it. And you get the command, you get the services with those names. Okay. And if you want to actually get the this is actually if you don't specify any parameter or anything like a dash name, a dash display name, what it's actually doing is it is going to use the default syntax. So what do you mean by that is I will come back to the help file and then I'll get to you on that. Like say if I actually do get-service, if you see here, the syntax is get-service, and the name is actually in a square bracket. The whole name is in a square bracket. So which means if you did not actually specify anything, it's going to assume that it is actually the name. Okay. And there is another thing is, suppose say you want to actually get multiple ways to actually get the details, and that is going to be if you type get-service and type WMI star and then type W2K-SRV1. What is that going to do? Like say get-service, and I'll probably type it as WMI star, and then I probably type the computer name here, the actual computer name. What is actually going to do? If you see the position of the first one, it compares with the syntax. Okay, the first position is for name. So if I don't specify it, it is going to be taking this as name. And I didn't specify anything for the computer name. So the second position is actually given for the computer name. So it is actually automatically assumed that this is a computer name. So it doesn't mean that you can't actually jumble up the parameters here and there. That is actually going to be, suppose say if I want to actually keep the computer name in the beginning, yeah, that's possible. And then if you want to keep the name later, you can do that. But you want to make sure that you specify them. I mean, if you don't specify it, it is going to think that the first one is for name, second one is for the computer name, and the third one is for dependent service, and so on. Okay. So depending on the position where you type the things, it is going to take the data. And if you give the whole name to that, like say if you keep a dash name and then the name after that, it's going to understand that it has to probably look for only the name. Okay. And the example is one of the things which is quite a lot interesting, because you get to know a lot of examples. Like say we didn't go through everyone still. I mean, if you see that there's a lot of examples available. Like say 4 or 5. There's probably some of the help file will have even actually more than 20. So you can see here there are many examples that you can see. And my understanding is going to be like this. If you want to learn the commands, we don't have to run behind many commands. We just need to actually go to the get-service command, get-process commands, and go through each and every example that you find in this. Like say, run each and every example, and then see what is it doing. Probably some of the examples you may not understand, but yes, definitely when we are going across to the word-object command in some time, we will actually go through those things as well. But the very best way to learn a PowerShell is going to be learning each and every example or each and everything that you can do with at least these two particular commands. That is a get-service and the get-process, because there are a lot of things that you can do with that. Like say you can actually see, like there's actually another thing which you came up across on the example 8, that if you want to sort that on the status, okay, you can do that. This is something we can actually go through in details in some time, but this is something which I want to talk about. Is help file is the first friend that you should look for whenever you are trying to do something in the PowerShell. Okay, and what about the next thing? And that is the pipeline. First of all, did you see here there is a pipeline in this get-service star S star and then a pipeline, and then type sort-object and status. What is this pipeline doing? What is it basically doing is it runs the first command, and whatever comes as an output is going to be going into the second command, and it is not going to go as a text file like in any other command line. This is something which you need to understand, that it will be still a .NET based component when it actually comes out of the pipeline, not like a Unix-based or Linux-based command line. Whenever you actually run something and you pipe it across, it is actually an output that is on a text, and that text is sent across to the next file. You basically, what you mean by that is actually in PowerShell, if you pipe it until the end of the command, that is until it reaches the last command that you type, it is going to be still ready to process more commands. It can process more commands. If you want to put another pipe after the status, you can still do that. So, but once it comes out as an output, then you really cannot do anything out of this. Like say, this is something which will be understandable if I actually say get dash, let's say this way, process, and what is actually doing? It is actually giving me the list of the process, right? So this is something which actually gave me an output. So this is something which you should understand, that whenever you type any command in a PowerShell, it is actually going to pipe it by itself and then type, like, it's going to actually give an out file or whatever it is, but it is going to host. If you type it, it is going to give me the same details, which means if I don't keep anything at the end, it is going to pipe it to an out-host command. This is something you should understand, is once it comes as an out-host command, like say if I actually type it out-host command, now I cannot do another piping, because now it is actually a text file, which you really cannot do anything in that. So you probably should be making sure about this thing. The output that you want to get, like out-host, out-file, or whatever the out-commands that you're doing, you should do that at the very end of the command, and which means once every processing is done, and that's when you should put that command. Okay, because this is something which many might do, thinking that okay, it is actually output is available, so let's try to actually do another command on top of it. It is not possible. You can't do that. That's about the pipeline. We probably should be looking into the pipeline almost every commands that we do, because pipeline is something that is quite a lot helpful to do multiple commands together. Like say you get a process, pipe it across to say stop dash process. It is going to stop every process. Okay, so this is actually something. Say if I actually say stop dash process. What is this going to do? It's actually going to almost maybe blue screen my system. So, but it is going to actually stop each and every process that is running. So, the stop dash process is a command which is actually going to do changes to your system, right? So, which means whatever thing which make it change, there is an option to put a what if at the end, and that's going to give me a list of the things. Okay, it's going to say, hey, performing an operation stop dash process on the target, all sort of servers which I had, is going to actually stop all of them, and I'm pretty much sure it is going to maybe it may not stop everyone, but maybe because of the issues to the permissions or whatever it is, but it is going to attempt to close or stop every process, and maybe it may even actually a blue screen. So this is one of the parameters that you can use if you're not very sure what the command is going to do. But this is not something that you can use with the get dash process or whatever it is, because this is something that you use when you are trying to do any change to the system. Okay, so like say if you are actually trying to set something on a mailbox or set dash AD user command, you can actually use a what if at the end, and it actually gives you an update saying that if you run this, this is what I'm going to do. And there is one more thing which you can try, and that is if you want to confirm what step you're going to do. What is that going to do? Are you sure you want to perform this action? And it's actually going to do a stop dash process Acrobat reader. I'm not really bothered about whether it is stopping or not, but I'm going to press L for right now. So L means no to all. And if you want to actually close this that particular process or stop that particular process, either you can press Enter here or else type Y. Okay, so that's about the two things, which is confirm, dash confirm, that you can use, and that came up in the mind because when we were actually talking about the pipeline, which is something which we can use when we are trying to modify many objects. Okay, and so we actually came across a few things. That is get dash help. Okay, we probably. And so we came across get dash command, and we came across the help file. What is the help file? How do we need to read the help file? We probably talked about the square brackets that you see in the help file, how important that is going to be. Like whenever you see something written inside a square bracket, that is actually not a mandatory component. It's something that is optional. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you specify that or not. Okay, and the other thing which we are talking about is going to be see, when you type get-process, it listed out what all things. It listed out handles, npm, pm, ws, vm. Then it actually listed out the CPUs, IDs, process names, etc. So do you think that these are the only parameters that are available for these processes? That's not probably the case. There is going to be a lot many things. So what it's actually doing is it is actually making the changes for you and showing up the things what PowerShell things that you might need. So that's not necessarily that is what you have to what you need. So if you want to actually see what all properties are available for this particular command, what you have to do is you can actually do a get-member command, and if you do that, it actually lists out a lot of properties, like say base priority, container, that, and all sort of things, methods, events, and alias properties, something we can discuss later. But the main thing that you can see right now is you have something called description, you have company, you have those are all, like, again, a script property. That is, again, something we need to discuss about once we are talking in better depth in this. So there are a few things which you need to understand. That is not only the property that you can see. That is actually a customized output that you see whenever you try to get an output of any process. So let's say like this. I want to actually get the probably, I think that will work. Okay. Obviously, when I have an Outlook running, so I'll probably get an Outlook. Okay. Suppose I want to actually get almost every detail of the process name, that is Outlook. If I enter this again, I'm going to get the smaller one again. So there is a better way. Actually, either you can actually do a format and then put it to format list. It's going to list out the things which it actually does. So which means it is almost the same, but yes, still that is having less data. So let's keep it like this. I probably want to make sure that I have better details available for that. Probably I can say the property is going to be, I want to see this property as well. I mean, as long as it can show me, I can try to do that. I'll probably do a select dash object, and then I'll say I want to actually select. Definitely, I need an ID. I need a name. I probably need a process name to make it better. I just copied that from there. So I probably need these details first of all, if that is what I'm trying to think about. If I press enter, okay, name parameters pending. Oh wait, sorry, I didn't actually put that here. See, you can see here that it is actually having an ID. That's something which I asked. Process name. And the other thing which I asked is actually non-page system memory size. What I'm trying to talk about is there are a lot of properties that one moment. There are a lot of properties that you can see still, and that is something which I want to talk about. Is probably we will be dealing this in better details when we are talking about the select dash object in the upcoming sessions. But this is something which I wanted to say is I want to just update you is whatever you see when you type a get dash process or a get dash process to a particular process name, what you get as an output is not only the thing that you can get. You can get more details out of it. Okay. That's something we will be dealing, but I probably want to update you is do not keep an understanding that whatever you see here is what is available. I mean, if I say I did a format list, the reason why I did a format list, because people might be thinking, okay, this is because it's in a tabular format, and then you don't have enough room to put everything in the table. Still, when I did a format list, it didn't find me everything. So if I want to get a specific part of it, What I would rather do is I'm going to actually see the members of that particular command, and then I can use each and every property that is listed as a member. I can use that as a select dash object, and then type ID, process name, and then that particular property name, and then I will get those details as well. So, and there is a few more things which I want to say is, let me actually go back to these slides. Somebody actually pinged. Okay, this is something which I actually wanted to convey in this message. That is, this is something which you saw just now, and that is, if you want to get something which is not exactly as per the default output, you should not be using a format list, or you should not be using an FT. What is an FT then? I mean, format table. That's something that you saw just now. I mean, so basically, this process, get-process, the default view is actually going to be the format table view. So, what I wanted to talk right now is, it is not just what you see as an output is available for you to work upon. The best way is actually going to be, probably you can actually do a get-member and see what all things is available for this particular command. I mean, I can say that I have base priority available. I can see a container. I can see a lot of things. Doesn't make sense to everybody, but probabilities are there. You want to get the details of the machine name. You want to get more details than what you see there. Okay, and so that's what I'm trying to say. The output is not always what you can get. It is sometimes manipulated by the PowerShell itself. Okay, I think probably I think the Cotis had a question that is saying, can we customize the default output which we look like without using an FT or FL? I think you got the point right there, right? You can actually use wait, let me go back to the command. Okay, you see here there is actually a command which I used. I used the select dash object command, and then I said to select ID, process name, and non-page full memory. And what I got output, I didn't get the default output which I got. This is actually the customized output. This is something which you wanted to see. So I think when you want to actually select any other property and not that the PowerShell wants you to show, you're going to pipe that and say select dash output. And there's let me actually update you one more thing, which I said one more thing at the very end. This is something which a question which I want to ask you. Probably I can get you like 1 or 2 minutes to think about, and then before you want to actually press enter. Suppose say process name, and then I put the out and say I would say, or let's say FL, okay, and then I would say. What was there in the FL? Probably I would say select dash object, and then I would say probably process name. What is going to happen for this command? Fetch only the process name. Okay. Okay. All right, let's press enter. I probably don't think so. Okay. There's a lot of things which you want to understand is, let me actually see FL first of all, if that is the right one. Did I see this? Let me make it one thing actually. First of all, it didn't give you any output. First of all, I mean, why it didn't give you an output? I think Manoj definitely have the answer. I probably think you can actually, if you want, you can answer that. I think even. I think Sakar, probably you want to mute this mic. So this is something which I actually talked about in the beginning. Before even you actually do a formatting or before you do an out file, you have to complete your entire pipeline. Once you did an out file, what you got is actually what is available there. There is a difference between FL and out file. Let me do this way. Let's do a out-host. And so this is what is out-host I can see. Okay. I'm probably going to say select dash object. I'll probably say, what do you think? Handle and process name. What does this do? Not really. You're not actually getting what I'm talking. So let's do this way. Probably we'll go back to this again, but I want to answer the question that is available for this one. Like say, I did a get dash process with the dash process name, and I give the name as Outlook, and then I piped it to out dash host, and then I selected the object that is handles and process name, which was available in the output. What do you think is going to happen here? What do you mean by that? See, there is few things which you need to understand is you can't really select anything once the output is available to the host, first of all, okay? You can't really customize anything. So you should understand one thing is the out-host is actually, whenever you type something as an out-host, think about that as your last command. Whatever you type after that is not going to take into effect at all. Nah, it is not nothing. I mean, you saw the output. It is definitely not nothing. So this is something which you should understand is you need to make sure that the out-host file or it should be at the end. But there is a difference. When I actually used a format format list, and I did the same command, what did I got? I mean, I didn't put the handles there, but still, there is few things. Like format list is actually going to give you a list which whatever it finds it appropriate for you to show, but it is not the list what you want to see, right? So if you want to actually probably see the things that you want to get is going to be this command. Okay? I think, does this make sense? I want to actually get you oh yeah, that's true. So this is what we actually showed up some time back. Like say the get dash members, if you see here, are FL versus out dash host. Okay, let's keep it like this. Okay. I'm actually trying to actually get a format. I'm trying to keep it in the right way that actually the command is. Format list is actually FL. Okay. What is actually happening here? Not really. I'll probably get you an example. I think you should be able to understand after that. Okay. What do you see here? What do you find here is actually get dash process name in Outlook, and I did a pipe and then did a format list. Okay. And what is that actually did? It actually gave me a listed output. It didn't give me a tabular output. Like say, if I don't do that, what I get is actually this. Instead of this, I got is format custom is not really needed. Okay. The how it actually gives you an output is what got different. Okay. It gives you different. Like it doesn't show all the things which came up when it was actually in the tabular format. And what is actually doing? This is one of the questions which I think Arun had. I think okay. Let's come up with this. What do you mean by this? I mean it's. See. There are a few things which you should understand is once the formatting is done, it is no longer the same command what you ran from here. Like say the get dash process command, what you ran is actually get dash if you type members. See, go in the top. What is the type, command type? System.diagnostics.process. Okay. Now let me actually format it and then give a get dash member. Where is that command? Yeah. What is the type now? Now let me actually say instead of this how dash host, and what is this going to be? What does it do actually? First of all, I said very first thing. After the out dash host file, you cannot do any pipeline or do any command on top of that, which really meant this was actually useless. It didn't even actually do anything. Okay, so one thing which you need to understand is when you do when this command is actually here, the type is actually system diagnostic process, and it has got multiple properties actually here. I probably should list it in a different way, which will be easier for you to view. Basically, let's keep it like this. I probably can say, yeah, I'm actually mixing multiple commands. Probably we will come across this. I'm just trying to do that so that you get a neat output. I probably trying to actually say, show me only the members that are properties, first of all. Okay. I probably can close it off, and that's it. Okay, why did I did this? The reason is it showed me too many things, like say alias property, events, and all those things. I didn't want everything. Okay. This is something you should understand here is when I did a command that is get dash process and the process name, and then did a get dash member command, the process type was actually system diagnostic.process. And when I do the exact same thing after doing an FL, what is this right now? The things what you need to understand here is after typing an FL, what all things can you do? You cannot do much actually. You can only do the properties that you see here. Getting me? You basically don't see any of the properties that was actually here. So you can't do any more filtering. Did that answer? Iqbal, anything piped after the FL is not applicable. So I think that actually, this will actually give you an answer to that. Actually, basically this particular the command which I actually ran after the FL. Okay, what was your question? Anything piped after FL, FT, or outhost. Outhost is not going to give anything. First of all, outhost is the endpoint. Okay, right? So outhost is out of the picture. Now the picture is FT and FL. Now if you type FL and FT, it is not the endpoint. No, I'm not talking. It is not the endpoint. You can still do the things which is mentioned here. And I don't think anybody will use this actually, right? I mean, what are you seeing here? I mean, is this something, maybe, I'm not very sure you're going to use it on a daily use. Probably what is useful for you as an administrator is also all lying here, right? Is almost everything is lying here. So this is something which I wanted to say about is, after doing a formatting, you're going to get the properties, what is there for that format, okay? Now, there is other few questions which can come across is, hey, come on, this is actually giving me a format list, but I need a format list which will have a lot more things, like say, probably what all things do you see here? It doesn't see the process name. It shows the name. I want to see. Let me actually take these off from here. Okay, I want to do a format list, and here I want to show the name. I want to see the CPU. I want to see the handles, and I want to see what I just copied from there. Okay, it's going to work. There you go. So what do you understood? If you want to tweak the format, you have to do before that is actually getting formatted. You getting me? So what is this command doing? This is actually a command. You piped it to say format-list, and you gave the things that you want in that format. You don't want the way that Microsoft gives to you by default, right? Does this answer many of the questions? Like say, one thing is, there are multiple questions that can come across. Is going to be, can I customize a format list? Yes, you can. What if I want to do it in a table? It's possible, right? So this is something which you want to actually talk about is the formatting. If you're doing, you have to specify what all things you need to be a part of that before it is getting formatted. And once that gets formatted, you can't pipe it and do any task which you want to do on top of that process. You can, if you want, you can tweak that format. That's it. Does it make sense? Perfect. So that's about the one of the command, which I mean, this is actually multiple things which we talked just now. It's not just one thing. And this is the one thing which I actually talked about last time. You know, it's almost impossible to actually use a PowerPoint presentation to do a PowerShell training. The reason is you get carried away by PowerShell whenever you give whenever you're working on it. You really, even if you keep an agenda, you probably might get carried away by that, because that's how it is. It is quite interesting to do. I mean, if you probably spend some time, you probably will not get to know how much time you spend on it. So you get carried away by PowerShell. I mean, as long as you know, at least I'm not saying 100% about PowerShell, something about here and there, you still have a lot of things to navigate across. Okay. So a few things which I want to actually make you understand is, we talked about get-help, right? Are we all good with the help file? I mean, are we all good if you want to actually see something like, say, I want to get the help dir. Whatever it is, you want to do whatever it is you want to do. See, if I want to actually say remote, what is this? Oh, yeah. I'll actually remove the T from that. I'll probably get better ones here. Okay. this is something which I probably came across just now. See, say what if you want to actually remote into any PowerShell console or something like that? It's possible. So I just type that, and then I think there was something which came up as about remote, and then I would say I would rather type that because that's what I got in the beginning. It's actually quite a lot. So let me actually change that to just help so that I get page by page view. So this is all talking about PS sessions. Okay, so this is how you can go across and see anything new, right? You got my point? Say help is the very first thing that you should be familiar with. Okay, and if you want to get a command, say you know how to use that, but you don't really remember the whole syntax, right? That's quite a lot possible, right? Say I will probably use something which we used just now. I want to get every command which starts with get dash. There you go. So you want to see what can I get from this system. I can get a lot many things, like say AD domain, AD user, and all sort of things which is possible from here. It is actually coming up, right? This is the get dash commands which I can see. Okay, probably I would say I probably keep it like get dash AD user. Now I want to help. What did I did? I piped help at the very end. So I said, okay, get me the command on the top. I got the command from here. Okay, this is the way. The reason why did I did that? Because many of the people, many people think that creating a user is going to be like, or getting a user from AD is going to be a get dash user command, right? But it is not really get dash user command because when I type get dash user, I get an error saying that get dash user is not a recognized name or the commandlet, a function, a script, a file, whatever it is. So what will I do? I will say, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about. Then I will go to get dash command and I'll ask him, okay, give me anything that is with the user. Does it make sense? I think somebody was asking me, how will I remember the commands? Do you think you should remember the commands after looking at this? Like say, I did a get dash user, and this is, I'm just trying to actually create a scenario wherein you end up actually having, I mean, you don't know the command, but you know what you want to do. You want to actually get the user list. So you did a get dash user because you thought that could be the case, but it didn't came out. It actually gave an error. So what could you do? You can actually do a get dash command and star user. Now you got too many things. Like say, you're going to say get dash AD user. You actually want to create an AD user. You want to actually use new dash AD user. And if you want to remove an AD user, you can use a remove dash AD user. Okay. And this command is not going to run right now here because this is not a domain controller from where I ran this. This is a desktop. Probably you need to run these from a domain controller if you want to do a new dash AD user and all those things. But I just want to give you an overview. What if you want to create an AD user and you don't know the syntax, and this is what you can do. All right, all good with that? At least all good with the get dash help and get dash command. I mean, that's the best thing I want to talk about. Okay. Okay. So we need two friends right now. What is that? And the other one is? What is the third friend we talked about? We talked about one more thing, right? Can we just remind something? Did we say something which is actually having a get in it? We talked about this as well, right? Did we talk about get dash member? All right. So I think I just want to actually make it more interactive. The reason is the commands are not going to be that fancy to look from my end. Maybe there's nothing 3D going on, so but maybe possibilities are there. You may end up actually losing the interest. But I just want to actually have quite a lot of participation from everyone, so that even if you don't know, that's fine. You can just type no. That's 100% fine. What I want to say is, are you all clear with these 3 commands? I mean, if not with any one of them, just say no. That's fine. Perfect. Okay, so the get-help, what does it do? I mean, it is going to give you a help. Get-command is going to give you the command list if you're not sure with what command it is. And what is a get-member? Okay, can somebody type like a one-liner for a get-member? I think not Manoj, but somebody else. Not really. I mean, the complete output, maybe what you're thinking could be correct, actually. I'll tell you this way. I mean, I was pretty much sure that many are not 100% sure about get-member, and that's why I asked this. Okay. I did a get-process command. And then I did a get- I probably can use one of the commands which I used in the beginning. Type a lot. Yeah. Get-process. And probably get-process, get-member, and I just want to. I'm only bothered about the properties which I can use, right? When you are running a command, I think the very first thing that you would look for is actually going to be the properties that you are going to be using on that command, right? So if I press enter, what is this get-member gives me? It gives me the list of the properties that can be applicable to this particular command. Okay? So this is few things which you need to understand is, suppose say, I think I have another command line here which probably will be quite a lot useful to take you through that, and that is the process output is going to be this, and then I'm going to do an FL, and this is what I get, and then I'm going to do an out-host file, and this is what I'm going to get, and it's almost similar to the FT, and I'm going to do a I did a get-member there, and I did a get-member here. Okay. The things are, what is actually going to be the case? The get-member is going to give you the list of parameters that you can use after this particular pipeline. Okay. Does it make sense? Okay, so that's what we need to be quite a lot careful about. And so you can see a lot of things are coming up across, and that is you can't use any of the properties that you see here. At any point of time you do a get-member, you may get a different list of properties, and that is based on where that get-member is added. Like say, if it is earlier than this pipeline, you will get better ones, and after the pipeline, you know what is happening is once you did a formatting, it already manipulated the output, and then you are trying to do a get-member. Okay. So I think you probably can rephrase that complete output right now. It is actually the list of the properties that you can apply to any command at a certain point of time can be retrieved by typing a get-member, right? That's something that you can think of. Like say you type it before an FL command, you get different property list, and if you type it after an FL command and then pipe it, you get a different list. So you know why this becomes why does this become quite important? This becomes important when you are trying to derive any script, and the script has got a pipeline, and you are trying to do a property which was actually present here, and you're getting an error saying that that property no longer exists. So what you will do? You will do a pipeline and then say get-member at that point and think, oh, that method or that property is no longer available. So what will I do? So that's it. Okay. Okay, makes sense? So let's move forward. So there are a few things which we need to actually understand is sorting. How many of you like to sort the output? I mean, whatever you get. Like say, if I did a get-process or I mean, it's actually jumbled up, right? I probably want to I'll probably give you an option right now. Say, okay, I want to sort this. What will I do? Can you guess the command for sorting? I think let's do this way. I think it probably makes a lot of sense actually. How many of you are using a Windows 7 PC? Oh, that's fine. Windows 8, Windows 7, at least a Windows 7 or whatever it is. So you have a PowerShell running there, right? So okay, let's open up a PowerShell and give me the command what you will use if you want to sort anything. Okay? You want to sort the output, and what will be the command that you will use? I mean, we just learned to get-help, we just learned get-command, and we're just trying to actually sort it out. That's it. I mean, we need to sort that output. Okay, how did you got this command? Sort-object, did you already knew that, or did you use the help file? Okay. All right, makes sense. Will this make sense? Get-command sort, or else I will say, if somebody is actually trying to see, I mean, what if something is here and there? Does this make sense? I mean, we just try to actually get a command. We want to sort it out. I'm going to get a command. Okay, that's what it is. So let's do this way. Get-process. And then I'm going to use sort-object. Did you see in the first example it said sort is equivalent to sort-object? So if I did just type sort, it's going to be fine, right? Yeah, it's going to be fine. And it is definitely fine if you type CPU in the front, but I'm just trying to keep it more complete. Let's say property. Okay, what property? Like say CPU. What did it do? It really didn't give me. Okay, that's because these things doesn't even count because that's quite less than 0.002. So what if I want to see the bigger ones in the first? I'll probably type, what will I say? Descending order? There you go. So I got the bigger ones on the top, and that's the best way. Okay. Now let me say it this way. I got the output. Now the next command which I want to talk about is I want to select some particular objects out of this. How do I do that? Like say I want to select first 10. or first 15 or first 5, whatever it is. What could be the command? Let's try the command. Say select dash object, right? That's what you see? Because I want to actually select whatever you see here. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to actually pipe it across and select select dash object, and what am I going to do here? What was the criteria? I want to have the first 10 or first 5. What is the mistake we're doing? We just got the command, but we don't know how to run that. I mean, what is available next? What will you do? Let's go back and type help and then say select dash object, and I'll say I'm fine with this. I just need a syntax at this point. Okay, I'm actually trying to get the syntax for select dash object, and it actually says give the property. Okay, that's also something is optional. It is not a mandatory. And what do you want to do? So I probably want to exclude a property. You know, exclude, expand, or no. What do you think you should do? Do you think here first, and it actually takes an integer, right? So I am going to use that command, and then I'm going to select dash object, and I'm going to say first, maybe 5. Did I get the first 5 output? Okay. Suppose I see. Let's keep it like this. You want to always make sure that your commands are as short as possible rather than becoming longer. I'm not trying to use alias, but without using descending order, can I get the most utilized CPU utilized 5 processes? Did anybody got the question? Probably I'll say it again. I sorted it out. And I want to get the most utilized 5 process in terms of CPU. And I don't want to use dash descending because I want to keep the PowerShell command as small as possible. What will you do? I will probably use a select straight away here, and then I'm going to use the last 5. Don't you think that could have been an option? What is the difference you see here? You were able to see the last 5. That's actually the opposite order. Like say the biggest down and then the other down, but still all the 5 is still there, right? All the 5 are still there. Okay? So I'm just trying to actually understand that. I don't know whether you read the help file completely. There were actually 2 options. One was actually a last, another one is first. And this is something probably you should actually make use of, like probably an example if you want. If you're not really sure what you want to do. There are a lot of things available here. You can actually select, or I think, okay? Makes sense? Alright, so let's move forward then. I think it's already 9:30 and I was pretty much sure that it is going to be a long session. Do you want to take a small break, or are you fine actually carrying forward? I'm 100% fine to carry forward, but if you want to take like 10 minutes break, I mean, that should be fine. And probably we need to actually talk about something more, and probably we can wind it up by 10:30 today. And this is one of the reasons why I didn't squeeze in many things. I probably think that we should keep like 2 parts definitely, and even actually if you're going at this level, I'm pretty much sure the first day is going to be quite slow because many of us are not quite good with PowerShell. So I want you to be quite a lot used to PowerShell, and then it makes sense for us to do any sort of scripting. Because if you see right now a $_ and all those things, and like a parenthesis, all sort of things in a shell, you normally, I mean, you don't look nice. I mean, you see that and say, oh, what is this? Probably that's the first reaction that everybody gets whenever you get a command, because I think I'm pretty much sure when I ran this command, many of those who are really new to PowerShell had almost similar things. And what is he writing? Word dash object filter crypt, and then all those blah blah things. So the reason to, if you want to understand that, you have to definitely understand the basics of PowerShell in the beginning, and then we should probably get into the details slowly, but definitely that's probably going to be the best way. So I just want to get an opinion from your end. Do you want to actually continue in 10 minutes, or just let's go on? What was that for? Like, go on, or? Okay, let's do this way then. Probably we should be, I mean, it's 9:35 at my end. Probably you can look at the clock that you have. Maybe let's be back at 9:45. It's 35 at my end, so just keep it like 10 minutes. Okay. I'm just pausing the recording in the meanwhile. Alright, so let's do this way. So at this point we are actually quite sure about the basic 3 things that one should be quite aware of in PowerShell. And this is something that everybody who talks about PowerShell says. If you want to know PowerShell, you should know 3 things. One is get-help, get-command, get-members. If you know these well, you really are good on PowerShell. So I think that makes total sense now. So we are all on the same page. And let's talk about a few of the other extra things. We talked about select-object just now. And there is one more thing which we should be understanding about. Like, say, let's do a small session on the, suppose, say, I have a, let's create a CSV file. Let me actually create a CSV file in the beginning, and then probably we'll work with a CSV file. I'll keep like name, let's say username, what else it should be there? Give it only name and display name. Okay, let's keep a name that is going to be, and name is, and probably let me save this off. Alright, so I just made a CSV file, and what am I going to do with the CSV file? Like, I'll try to show some tricks what you can do with the select-object command. Not just what we just saw right now. We probably can go through, I can say a bit advanced, but not really usually advanced, but yes, definitely something advanced. Let us kind of see, Roy. I think there is a, you may be seeing too many good new commands basically, but file.csv file. Okay, if I want to get any data or any content from any file, I probably use a get-content file.csv file. I just did that so that you can see what that CSV file has rather than sharing the CSV file on the screen. So the CSV file what I made is actually something like a name and display name. That's it. Okay. And there is few things which I want to do right now, and that is going to be this could be one of the requirements which come across. Okay. Like say, I'm just trying to keep an example. Like say you are working in a company and your HR gives you a file. Okay. HR gives you a file which is a CSV file which talks about a name, display name, and all those sort of things. Okay. And you came to know that there is one particular field missing in that particular file. Like say there is no username mentioned in that. Okay. So would you create a new CSV file manually, putting an extra column and type the username? Or normally will you keep it like say if my name is similar to username, if my name and username should be same, if you want me to actually keep that way, like say the condition could be like this, and username is same. Okay, name and the username is same. What do you do? You create a new CSV file and put an extra tab or extra column saying that username, and then copy the contents that you have in the name and paste it there. Is that what you do? This is just a small example I'm just trying to give. Possibilities of the name and usernames can never be same, but I'm just keeping it as an example. But possibilities are there. In real world, such scenarios might happen. Like say when one field is similar to the other field. So you really don't have to do that. What can you do? First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import the CSV file. Okay, and I'm going to do is like this. Import the CSV file, and I'm going to actually say what is the name of the file. What is this guy's doing? It actually just showed me up. And I want to make sure that this CSV file is imported with an extra column. Okay, extra other than username and display name. I want one username as well added. What will you do? I'm going to use select dash object. Okay, and I'm going to say property. What properties should I select? I will say everything that is there in this, but I want to create a new property. I mean, what does it mean by property? Do this way. What is the property you see here? I did a get-member to see the properties available in that CSV file. Okay. So properties are actually the name and the display name, because that's what you see here. So that's the property. Okay. I'm actually trying to do a command, that is I'm going to import that, and I'm going to say select dash object, and I'm going to say property, and then I'm going to say star, which means, what do you mean by star? Everyone, right? Each and every properties that is there. And I want to add another property which is actually going to be having which does have a name, and that is going to be username. Okay, and then I'm going to say that what does this username value that contain? I'm going to keep an expression, and I will say I'm going to contain whatever was there inside the name column. What is? Are you able to understand this command? I did a select dash object, and then I said everything that is there inside it, but I want to create one more property. Okay? And then what happens if I press enter? Did it make that extra? So this is something which I'm actually trying to say to you. Did you open up an Excel and added an extra column, or did you made it on the PowerShell itself? We made it in the PowerShell, which was not there. So this is something that you can do. This is something that you can use. I can give you a real world scenario. Many of the case, when you create a user account, okay? When you create a user account in AD, you normally pull in a lot of things like, say, username, display name, all those things. Sometimes the data that you get from the HR doesn't have some of the AD attributes, like, say, SAM account name or something like that, which is required to use or required to create AD user. So because they're not really sure about what is a SAM account name, right? So what do? Just put that as a name and then put as a SAM account name and say SAM account name is similar to account name. That's it. So it is going to create that for you. Got it? So I think it makes sense. So this is a way we can actually create an extra column for a CSV file. And what if I want to actually export that to a CSV? I got a new CSV file. I probably want to keep it like file. Let's say C:/file to.csv. Access denied because that's because this PowerShell is running on a I mean, this is not on an admin mode. Just me actually do this way. This is actually basically what you do if you want to actually create that output as a CSV file. But the only thing you need to be careful about is going to be the path. That is, if you don't have the rights. I'll rather use this way. Okay, that's the username that I have, and then file. It opened up Excel for me on the other side, and then that's it. It added the username field. Okay? Does it make sense? So you didn't actually open up the Excel sheet, you created a CSV file with an extra column. So that's something which I wanted to show you. That's something, an extra thing about a select dash object. That is, if you want to actually create or select an object and add another value to the same CSV file, that is exactly possible. Okay. So let me actually. So that's one thing. So I just want to give you a extra thing about the select dash object. Probably this is something which I'm trying to say. When you learn more about PowerShell, when you learn more about each command, and how do you get these actually from the help file? So like say get-help. If you say help, I can actually say select dash object, and then I'm going to pipe that. Sorry, examples. I'm pretty much sure there could be some example actually mentioned in that way. So over here, do you get this? See, there was no start date to the file that you got. Okay, what you did actually, or else the process or whatever it is, you want to add an extra column that is actually mentioned as start day. Yeah, that's what we just did. We actually did an @ sign and then parenthesis and then type the name, what is the name you want, and start day, and then give the expression to that. So what is it actually doing? $_start time dot day of the week. it's going to take whatever start time to the day of that week as the content. Okay, make sense? And there is one more thing which you might have a question about, and that is going to be this one. That is, the command we typed had something called $_.name. What do you mean by this? This is actually $_.name means it is going to be replaced by the content that you have in the name field. Okay, so that's what it did, right? $_ is a variable, and you're saying that variable to be replaced with what you have in the name. Okay? Alright, so that's about the we actually did 3 commands in this particular example. One is import-CSV file, another one is export-CSV file. You did a get-content file. Do you remember that get-content file which we did? And we give the CSV file name. You got the content displayed here, right? We did it sometime back here, right? So suppose what is the use of this get-content file command? Suppose here you have a file name which has got a list of usernames. What do you need to move, or what do you need to create a user account for? What do? Get-content, and you actually get these. If it is a CSV file, best is going to be to import the PSV file. If that is not a CSV file and just a plain text file with a list of names, then you probably can do like this. Say, I'm going to say get-content, and then I'm going to give the text file name, and I'm going to pipe that and say, if it is a 2007 mailbox, it's going to be move-mailbox. What is it going to do? It's going to go to the text file and move everybody that is there in that text file, and you'll have to complete the parameters. First of all, you have to complete the syntax. Okay. All right, you got the point. I think it all depends upon what we are doing. 2010 doesn't support move-mailbox. It is going to be, you have to request or create a move request. So a new -move request is what do you do? Okay. So I think you got the point. What is the power that you have with the import-CSV, or what is the power that you have with the get-content file? And there is one more thing. Get-content is this. You can actually alias that to GC. So if you want to actually don't want to type the whole thing, type GC. So that is what is get-content. And you want to find an alias. What is the alias actually? You get the list of alias that you have. At your point. That is actually, there is the list of alias. That is, you want to get the content. You have cat. That is what you have in Unix. So that is actually added here as well. You can even actually type GC. And there are multiple alias that is available. So if you want to go through, you'll get to know more about the alias. But that is, if you type these, this is going to do this. Okay? Make sense? So there are more cool stuff coming in. One is this way. Suppose you have, let's keep it like this. You want to actually make sure that you want to compare 2 things. Okay? What you'll do? You'll actually compare .object. That's the command that you can use if you want to compare 2 objects. Why would you do that? Like, say, if you want to actually compare 2 objects and make sure that whatever you see there is actually all actually same. Like, say, there is no problem with that, right? I'll keep it like this. I'm actually going to do a compare object. And what am I going to do? I'm going to give a reference objects, and I'm going to say that use the okay, let's keep it like this. The whatever CSV file we just made, let's use that one. Let's keep it like import-CSV. Okay, And where was that actually? It was actually on C:/users /file to file. Let's keep it like file. File 1 was not in that place, so let's keep it on that place first of all. Let's put it there. There you go. So that's actually the reference object. I'm just trying to import that CSV file. Okay. And what I'm going to do there, I'm going to actually ask it that to check that with the other CSV file that I have, and that is going to be difference object. And what is that? I'm going to use the similar command, that is import-CSV, and I'm going to use C:/users/ the username that I have /file 2.csv file, and close it off. Okay, so what is this going to do? This is going to actually compare. So what do you mean by this? It was actually trying to say me that you actually tried to do something where you didn't import the CSV file. Okay, so the best way to do this is going to be like, say, let me actually try to actually import it so that, you know, that makes sense for me. So let's do it that way. Okay, I will probably use .csv, and then I'm going to actually use $CSV2 is equal to import.csv, and C:/users/ the username /file CSV file. Okay, what did I did? I created a variable named $CSV2. I imported those details into that. So whenever I type CSV2 here, it's going to give me that. Okay. So what it's actually going to do is actually just cache those details on this particular. I mean, it is only available in this PowerShell session. If I open a new PowerShell session, this is not available. So this is something which it actually cached up. So I'm actually going to create a similar one for the other one. And I'm actually going to go and run the same command. I would rather use, instead of these, I'll use $CSV and keep it like 2. Compare the objects. Okay, I didn't specify the property. Okay, what property do you want me to do that? What does it say? Don't worry about that because I had a lot of space in that. What does this mean? First of all, I just compared 2 CSV files. Okay, and I'm saying that use the property that is username to compare. And this output says that the username is only available in the CSV2 and not in the CSV1. Make sense? The side indicator, if you see that, it is actually pointing towards CSV2. Right? That's the reference to CSV, and the other one is CSV2. And it says the username, these two, were not there in the other one, and it is there in this one. Okay, this is something you can use if you want to compare 2 files. Like if you want to compare a particular column in 2 files, saying that, and to get to know that if it is actually equal or whether it is not actually same, you get to know from that. Like if it is all same, then it is going to actually give you everything is equal. Okay. The only thing is actually you can actually provide If you want to actually import it to the, it should be fine, and then you can actually give the property what you want to compare, and then it'll compare it for you. It is actually this way. See, the CSV file, what you're actually trying to talk about is, wait. You mean to say what are things that are not equal in the other one should be removed? You're trying to say that way. It is actually this way. What you have to do is, in that case, is you have to create a CSV file, and then you have to say that again, export the other one to a CSV file, only those which are actually shows as equal. And then what you're going to get is actually a new CSV file which only has the equal things. You get me? That is something would we need to be something that I should be covering up in the Word-object filter script criteria. Like you have something called Word-object, and then in that case you can actually keep a filter saying that what filter do you want to keep, and then you can keep the filter in that way. That's something that we can actually carry forward in the rest of the things. Okay. It is actually possible, whatever you said. Okay. See, what is actually happening is this is something which is useful if you want to actually customize your current administration. Like you don't want to do a lot of custom, or you don't want to do many manual activities, and that's when the PowerShell comes in picture. Okay, so that's about the two things. One is the compare object, and whatever you get is actually a side indicator, right? And if probably it is actually like something like whatever you get as a side indicator, if you see that, and it actually shows where the direction is as well. Okay. And the other thing which you want to talk about is going to be the output that you got. Okay. Yeah, you got an output just now. Do you want this to be on another file as such, or something like a file which you can upload to SharePoint? You can actually say SharePoint or something, anything like that. So what you actually can do is you can actually convert this, and you basically can convert it to multiple things. Like say if you see here, there's multiple conversions available. CSV, HTML. I'll probably try the HTML part. What happened here? Whatever you just got on the other side got converted to an HTML file. And if you want to actually use this, then you can actually do an out-file and give c:/user/username and just keep like out.html. What it did, whatever you just made is actually converted to an HTML file. Does it make sense? I think if you open up the HTML file, you're going to get something which is which has got a lot of things inside. Like exactly the same thing what you saw. It's going to be a table. It is going to be in HTML format. Okay. So if you have something in your place, like say you want to actually publish it on internet, I'm pretty much sure the best medium to update it, or best protocol to use is actually going to be, or best language to use is HTML, right? So you don't have to use a CSV and then upload it there, and then later came to know that you don't have a an Excel to open that and view that in the proper way or something like that. So you don't need a viewer, first of all, if it is an HTML. So that's the other command that you should be aware of, that is convert to HTML. I mean, you can convert any output to HTML, and then you can out that file to a HTML file. Make sense? You don't need this command if you are trying to put it straight away here. Okay. So there are a lot of things you can do in the PowerShell. That is, one is the output file can be made in the format that you want. It can be a CSV, it can be an HTML, it can be Export-CSV always exporting all the properties into the same Excel column. Now, actually, that is because you're not tweaked that. Actually, I'll tell you this way. You're trying to say me that you want to export, like say, get dash process. I think that's the best thing. Okay. What all things do you see here? You want to export that into a CSV file. That's what you're going to do, right? What will you do? You're going to say select dash object. You're going to select handles. You can actually type npm, type vm, you can type CPU. Now you export that to a CSV file. It won't do that way. Let's give it like c:/users/ and then type the username. That is going to be something like, oh sorry, file name, file3.csv file. You want to see the CSV file? It's quite as simple as importing the CSV. Wait, I think I'll probably type this off. I'm just trying to do some shortcut, that's it. What about this now? This is what you wanted, right? So if you do an export straight away without selecting the object, it is going to create all in one rather than the other way. So when you're trying to create an export to a CSV, you have to make sure that you have to select the object. Otherwise, it will not export to a CSV properly. Okay, makes sense? That's correct. If you use FT is a different story. Oh yeah, if you want to put everyone, you select all. Yeah, that's something. So there is something which we did just last time. We selected everything when we created the second CSV file. So if you want to actually select everything, either use select star, or else you can actually put property star. There you go. It's actually creating the CSV file in the backend, and that's it. Why did it make it like this? Because it exported everything, and the CSV file is made. But when I imported that, and when it wanted to show me in this screen, it automatically found that the resolution is not good enough to show me in the tabular format. So it automatically made it in the list format. But CSV is already made, and that doesn't have all in one. Okay. You basically don't have to put star. You know what is the problem with the star is actually this. You get all sort of things, not just the one that you see in the tabular format. You get everything, and you may not need everything, first of all. So it is always good if you can actually keep the specific things so that it is quite less amount of data that is coming out. That will be more useful. I mean, otherwise you have too many data to work with. Alright, so that's about the export command. That's about the ConvertTo-HTML command. And so I just want to actually give you an idea. So I think we covered up, what all things did we cover? We actually covered up, like say, get dash process. We covered up the stopping the process, what you can do. We covered up the what if. We covered up the confirm command. And even we covered up some of the tools such as the converting to an HTML and then exporting to a CSV, and a few of the limitations that we had in converting to CSV. That is, you have to select the object before even converting to CSV so that it makes it properly. Okay. And then we went into the multiple things, such as the different members that you have of each and every command. Okay. So there is another thing, a cool thing which I want to talk, which probably is going to be the last thing which we need to talk today, and that is, I think we already know what is alias. I just talked about alias some time back, so I didn't speak about it again. That is, alias is a smaller way to say another command. But we're going to talk about something called PSProvider. What is PSProvider? Okay. Have you ever had a challenge editing the registry via PowerShell? I mean, have you ever thought, how do you do that? It is quite simple. What you have to do is, you have to just type, say if you want to go into a registry, what would you do? You actually go to cdhkuc colon. I know, we probably can do a dir better than that, because, wait. I didn't actually type the slash. Let me get the PS drive first of all on this one. Okay, get-ps drive. It's going to give me the list of PS drive that I can work with. You know what? That was a typo. This is actually the registry that you have. So you just browse to the HP current user completely, and you can actually go through the other things. That is, if I want to go into H, like say, whatever you want to see here is actually going to be like a folder. So what you can do is actually going to be, you can actually go into cd command and then type the exact same thing, hpcu, and then it should be it. So now you are inside that folder. Type dir. Okay. You want to go into cd remote access. You are inside that. dir. You are inside profile. So let's go into cd profile. You getting my point? So this is just like a files and folder structure. This is how you can go into a registry using PowerShell. You don't have to do anything extraordinary. You just need to actually go and type, just type the hkcu colon slash in a heading, just type cd. You know, the reason why this is actually happening is, if you want to go one step back, is this the way, and if you want to go all the way back, this is the way. Okay. So this is why is it happening? This is happening because of something called PS drive. Okay. You have get-ps drive command, which we did just now, and this will actually list out the PS drives that you have. What do you want? What if you want to actually navigate through the environment variables? Same thing. env colon. You are inside that. Got it? All sort of environment variables are available now for you. And if you want to actually see what is the computer name from the environment variable, how is that? Just type computer name, and this is going to show you that, right? So this is what I'm actually trying to say to you. It's quite possible that you can actually browse through most of the things that you have on your PC. Like say, if you even actually you can do like this, dir cd slash. Let's go out. C colon. Well, let's keep it like dir env colon slash. You can tab it across. You can tab it across whatever you have in this. So this is all something that you can do if you want to actually work around something like you want to see the path. You want to get the list of what all environment path that you are using. Just type this command. You can actually script it if you want. Like say, these are the things that you can use first of all, right? All right, so that's all about the going into the registry, going into the environment variables, and this is multiple options to do that, and that is there are more things to do. Actually, there are certificate store. You can even go into the certificate store the same way. Okay, so the PowerShell, how is it actually able to do? This is because of a provider that the PowerShell has. This provider is going to convert all these things into something like a drive or a folder structure or a file structure. So where and all is going to work? This is going to work on any database that is going to be hierarchical, which means if I had an Active Directory running on this, I could manage Active Directory the same way. I could go into the different OUs the same way, like the CD commands. I can go through the different OUs. If you want me to delete an OU, I can do the del command and then delete it, so it's going to go away. I was just trying to actually make you go across this. It is not something that you may want to use quite often, but definitely something, let me say this way, like say, suppose you have to see the environment variable path, okay? You can actually use the PowerShell to see that. You don't have to use the GUI still. So that's just another way to go through that. Okay, we probably should be going through the things next session, like editing the environment variable and also all sort of things, editing registry, how we can do that. But this is something I just want to take you and update that a registry or environment variables or AD, all sort of things that are hierarchical database can be edited using PowerShell. Okay. So does it make sense? I just want to ask if everybody is still available with me. Like, did you got to know most of the things about PowerShell, like how you can use PowerShell? Like probably you can learn better tomorrow. Like, you know, whenever you come across any commands, I'm pretty much sure you can actually make a lot of scripts as well possible, because the get-member command is one of the biggest thing that you can use. Whatever commands you get, you use a get-member and you see the list of things that it can do. Okay. All right, let me actually show one more thing, probably then we can actually end this session probably for today, and that is going to be like, I think I already did that actually some time back. You know, get-process? No, process is not a good example. Get-service. What if I want to get the service that is only stopped? What will I do that? I'm going to do a word-object command, and then I'm going to give a filter, and then I'm going to give a parenthesis and say what is the name of the property that it has got this, that is status, right? I'm going to say here type status is equals to stopped. You should rather put this inside double quotes and close that off. What did I got? Only those which are stopped, right? Okay, make sense? So you can use this for multiple things. See, this is not just for the service. Let's give an example of mailbox, okay? Let's say like this, get-mailbox, and then pipe that and say a word-object and give the filter script. You can give, instead of status, give the recipient type is equal to user mailbox. Then it is going to give you only the mailboxes that are user mailbox. Okay? So this is something that you can actually do. Not only in some case, like say we can actually use this whenever you're doing some migrations or mailbox migration. You can actually get the list of users which are completed, get the list of users which are still running, all sort of things you can use. the status option that you have in the move statistics, and then you put the status and equal to completed. You get all those guys who are completed. Okay, so that's just the that's right. Yeah, it's actually the I can actually give you some more hint to that, which I don't like to use. First of all, if you ask me, I don't like to actually make it small. There is one thing which is actually, if you don't put the filter script, the word object is going to automatically think that is a filter. If you don't use the whole thing, it is going to be just word, it is going to be the same thing. And if it is going to be this, it's also same. And if I want to actually convert this as well, it is going to be, now this doesn't make any sense, right? Somebody who's looking at this will be saying, oh, what is this all about? So that's all how you can actually use Alias. It's going to do the exact same thing. I just made that look different. I mean, that's exactly the same thing. Okay. Now, what about this equals to? I mean, what all things do you have in that part? Like, do you think one thing? This thing, I mean, I just want to point out a few things. That is, let me actually use this, and the equals to sign, and probably anything that you can think as a what you used in mathematics is no longer going to work. Okay, this will not work in PowerShell. Rather, if it is equal, it should be EQ, and if it is not equal, it should be NEQ. Okay, if it is greater than, you should use GT. If it is less than, right? I think so. How do you get all these actually? How do you find these comparison? Again, same thing. It is actually compare-object. So actually, I will type compare-object, and then what is it actually going to do? It is going to give me. I'll probably do an example. Or else full should be fine. Okay. If I put a full, it's going to give me almost everything. Okay. It's going to give me the lot of examples that are available, and okay, and even actually I can say it's going to actually search the help for comparison. If you see on the top, if it finds anything, it's going to come back and says, oh, sorry, it didn't find anything. So what about compare? Oh, you know what? That's because of the bad. It's actually going to give me our. Oh, sorry. What am I typing? It's going to be something more like. We probably should be actually looking into that whenever you want to actually see like list of things what you can do with a lot of. It's not going to be greater than sign. It is going to be GT. Let me find the help file for you. I probably should be able to. Should not be that difficult. Alright, so let me go back to the help file. -EQ. Okay, makes sense. Okay, so that's actually a few of the things. I probably can find you the help file and probably can email it across. It should not be that difficult to get the help file across. What you need to understand is it's no longer going to be greater than sign. It's no longer going to be the less than sign. It's always GT, or it is less than, or it is LT, or it's going to be EQ for equals to, and not equal to is going to be not equal to. Okay. So that's few things which you should understand when it comes to those things. Okay. Perfect. Makes sense. So all good at this point? I think so far at least we got a few things to deal with in terms of PowerShell, and talked about some of the help file, how we can use the help file, and all sort of things. All right, so perfect. So that's all. It was actually quite a lot longer session, which probably shouldn't have been, but so I just want to make sure that you guys are good with it, and then probably we can have a similar session later. Perfect, thanks. So I think just kind of let's go back to the. Let me actually go back to the PowerPoint and then let you know what is actually pending. Probably. Okay. All right. So this is actually what we actually. Most of the things what we actually came across. We actually didn't do everything, but definitely that was quite a lot expected, because being a day one and then going through everything is not going to work out. So if you see the other parts of the sessions, we need to actually do a lot of remoting, invoke dash commands. That's one of the things that you might be asking. What if you want to sit in your desktop and run a command that is for a server that is sitting somewhere else? Yes, that is possible using an invoke command. And what if you want to invoke the command to 100 different systems? Yes, again, that is possible using invoke command. So like one command, you can pull it and give it to 100 systems. So say like this. Suppose you want to actually delete some data that is, say, temp data, whatever it is, available on 100 systems. Yes, that's also possible. And we probably be talking about the importing the PS sessions, then what is a PS session, and all sort of things tomorrow. Not tomorrow, I mean, say the next upcoming sessions. And after we are done with almost all these things, I'm pretty much sure we should be good to actually create a simple script to move on. Okay. So that's it all about. So I just want to make sure that if there is any questions, so forward, whatever happened today. Perfect. Sorry for taking like 2.5 hours of your time. So let's catch up next time with another session, which probably someday end of this month. Okay. Perfect. Thanks. That's all what we need at the end of the day. And the same will be, I mean, it's actually being recorded, so I probably should be able to upload this and then you should be able to see them as well, in case if you want to go through some of the things that we happened today. So I just want to say thank you all, and then we'll see you next time.